just get right to it because I had lunch with the guy the other day and he's telling me things about the Mike Tyson bout. Lockhart's heard things about this Mike Tyson bout. So Jake Paul is 27. Mike Tyson is 57.
58, yeah.
Okay, so they're fighting. Now, what are the rules of this fight? What is going on? There's so many like rumors about it. Tell us what the deal is.
So it had the short answer is it has not been determined yet because who determines it is the state of Texas. And MVP, which is Jake Paul's promotional company, has not yet gone through the machinations of seeking whatever approval they're going to seek for this fight. What I do know are two things. One, there will not be headgear involved. This is something that I've been told from the promotional side. So no headgear in this fight. And two, I have been told that this under no circumstances will be sanctioned as a regular fight, right? So it will not go on Mike Tyson's professional resume. It will not go on Jake Paul's professional record. There's no way Texas is going to allow it to be a fight. So anything in between is kind of up for debate. I think a good blueprint for what to expect is what we saw with Mike Tyson and Roy Jones in California back 4 years ago, where it was not a sanctioned fight, but they did do, what was it? I think 6 2-minute rounds or 8 2-minute rounds. And they did not have to use headgear. And it was scored on some level, not officially, but it was scored by judges that were sitting ringside. I think that's a close approximation of what to expect from Mike Tyson, Jake Paul.
If I remember correctly, Roy Jones did a lot of staying away, and there were only punches to the body. And Jones is saying, "Well, Tyson was taking a lot more seriously than I did." Is that what I remember? Do I remember that correctly?
It was. I mean, I remember watching that and thinking that if Mike really wanted to dial it up, he could have knocked Roy out. Now, Roy at that point, even though he's younger, was more washed than Mike was. I mean, Mike, even now you can tell he's in pretty good shape, and you're always going to possess some level of power if you're a former heavyweight champion. It definitely seemed like Mike was pulling his punches there a little bit towards the end because he didn't want to just blast Roy out of there. So it looked like Mike had something left in the tank. But again, I think a lot of that to do with the fact that Roy was heavy, slow. And if you remember the end of Roy's professional boxing career, Roy was very chinny. I mean, Roy got knocked out a lot at the end. So I think that was as much about Roy as it was Mike.
Is there any incentive for them to try since it doesn't go on their professional record? Like, what's the incentive for the two of them to, like, hurt each other?
I mean, it's a good question because I guess the incentive is not to humiliate themselves in front of the largest audience boxing has seen in decades, right? Because I think the audience is going to tune in. 40 million, 50 million, maybe more watching this fight on Netflix, which is going to do, I'm sure, an incredible job marketing it leading up to July 20th. I talked to Lou DiBello, who's a longtime boxing promoter, over the weekend, and I was asking him about, filling up AT&T Stadium in Dallas. He's like, "Oh, I think they can do it. I think they can get, 60,000 fans inside that building, for fight night because of the names of Mike Tyson and Jake Paul." So if you have that kind of television audience and you have that kind of in-person audience, you're going to be motivated to at least have a good showing there. What that ultimately looks like, I don't know, but I don't think it will just be, two guys kind of pawing at each other, getting through a 6-round fight.
Okay, so Fred has worried about this because you don't want to see Tyson embarrassed, and I'm kind of the same thought process here that it doesn't matter if he still possesses that knockout power as a former heavyweight champion. At his age, it's all about conditioning. And will he be able to have the legs and the lungs to stay in there long enough to, hopefully, not embarrass himself or maybe even do some damage as compared to somebody who's 30 years younger than him?
Yeah, the short answer to that is no, he doesn't. He's almost 58 years old and he smokes weed every day. Yeah. Like, what are, we can't, we cannot expect him more than the first 20 or 30 seconds of every round to be anything but an old man in the ring. I mean, we're all going to be watching God knows how many Instagram videos of Mike hitting the pads. That's great. But show me the video of the next 30 seconds. Show me the video of the next minute when, Mike Tyson is exhausted and trying to recover, from those quick flurries that he's throwing. The fear that I have is that Jake Paul, who, regardless of what you think about him, he can punch. Like, Jake has a great right hand. Like, if Jake somehow gets clipped with something that energizes him, he throws a big right and he puts Mike Tyson down. That's not impossible here. It's not. I mean, Mike Tyson, at the end of his pro career, was getting beat up and knocked out. I mean, and that was almost 20 years ago when he was last formally in the ring, against a quote unquote real fighter. Jake Paul is not championship level by any stretch,
but he's not terrible. Yeah, he's not
terrible.
Yeah.
And power is his strength. Like, he does have power. So if Jake Paul dials one up and throws a big right hand at Mike Tyson, I don't know what happens there. Believe me, nobody, probably including Jake Paul, wants to see Mike Tyson flat on the canvas, a senior citizen knocked out.
So it might be Jake Paul that pulls punches in this fight.
I think that's realistic. I do. I think that's look. It's going to be. It's a difficult dance they're going to have to do here because, again, you don't want to make it goofy, to make the audience, in-person audience,
because it would hurt Jake Paul's career.
Yeah.
Because this is going to be his biggest audience. Because I wouldn't pay for the fight, but if it's on Netflix and I'm around, I'll watch it, and I'll certainly watch it when it's clipped on the internet if I don't watch it live. So my incentive to make Jake Paul, because I'm almost 50, so Jake Paul, I don't care about him. I also like that he's the villain in a fight against a convicted rapist. But that's odd. That shows us where we're at.
Well, and it's like saying, Tyson fans, and it's like, oh, hold on a second. You can be enamored with Mike Tyson being on planet Earth, but to be an actual fan of his, there's, not too long ago history that you should probably take into account.
So, but I'm not going to judge anyone when I watch it. I mean, it's a curiosity. There's no doubt about it. But Jake Paul can't, like Chris said, Jake Paul has to put on a show or I'll never watch it again. Like, if you have 50 million eyes on you and you want to sell other fights to people my age, you're going to have to
starving for good boxing entertainment. Like, for instance, Francis Ngannou, who fought Tyson Fury because Fury didn't take him seriously. Chris, what happened to him the last time out?
Oh, just obliterated the way it was supposed to go against Tyson Fury. Just absolutely annihilated in 2 rounds.
Yeah, what's his name? Anthony Joshua hit him twice on the chin and literally knocked him out with one punch to the face.
Yeah.
And Ngannou is a very large indivial, but he's not a boxer.
I thought he killed him.
Looked like it.
I mean, I thought that he might have really seriously hurt him. So, all right, Chris.
Is Tyson going to be better served by training with Maynard James Keenan in his jiu-jitsu dojo? I read this yesterday.
Yeah, the guy.
I mean, you can. I don't care who you put in the corner of Mike Tyson. He will ultimately still be a 58-year-old man who smokes weed every day. Like, let's not dismiss this. Like, this is who Mike Tyson is, and he has done a remarkable. He has had a remarkable second act of his life, right? Where he ended his boxing career in the ring, talking to Jim Gray, saying, "I'm doing this because I'm broke." Now he is a podcaster, a weed peddler, and still one of the biggest draws in boxing today. That fight against Roy Jones Jr. did over 1 million pay-per-view buys. Over 1 million with crazy. Tyson and Roy Jones. This fight with Netflix, even though it might not get to 80, 90 million, which I first thought, it'll exceed 40 million viewers, which for boxing is an astronomical number.
And Chris, people can dismiss it, but you, I, John, Hardy, everyone listening has heard of this fight. Like, we've all heard of it, and you can dismiss it any way you want, but it's part of the public consciousness. I mean, we all know what it does.
What it does, it tickles 2 kind of demographics, right? Like, you have the boxing fans who know Mike Tyson, and every boxing fan on the planet, and that's another part of this. Like, the global audience, Netflix has a global audience of 260 million subscribers. The global audience knows who Mike Tyson is, so they're going to be tuning in to watch it, and all the influencers that usually just watch Jake Paul on YouTube, and all these kids, they know who Jake Paul is. So they're going to be subscribed to Netflix if they're not already, and they are going to be watching. That's what's going to make this fight so enormous.
Yeah, my kids know Jake Paul and know about it, and I, of course, Mike Tyson. Chris Mannix, read him in Sports Illustrated. He's basketball, he's boxing, he's everything else. Thank you for the time, sir.